All right, 10 millimeter versus 44 Magnum. And what I have today is the Buffalo Bore using the Barnes lead-free bullets. And for a 44 Magnum, I have a 225 grain and it is rated at 1400 feet per second. For the 10 millimeter, this happens to be all I could get. This is just how Buffalo Bore loads it. They considered it a tactical low recoil, low flash 10 millimeter. 155 grain rated at 1350 feet per second. It's still a pretty decent load for a 10 millimeter. So I'm going to use my 4-inch or 4¼ inch Smith & Wesson Model 69 for a 44 Magnum, and our 5.3 inch Glock 41 and 45 ACP converted over to 10 millimeter. Not very reliable, but the reason why I really like to use it is because the overall bullet travel in those guns and overall size of the guns are the same. And I'm pretty much going to be done with 10 millimeter pretty soon. I'm going to move on to something a little bit more cooler of a conversion with this. But, you know, I'll get a couple more videos with this because it still works for getting velocity, accuracy, and ballistic performance and all of that. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we can get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. I got to get some more gel blocks soon. These are getting kind of old. 4 layers of denim, 3 inches of clear ballistics represent hitting a pectoral muscle, followed by a 1/4 inch MDF to represent hitting ribs or sternum, and some more clear ballistics. We'll do a shot with the MDF and without the MDF, because the MDF kind of represents hitting ribs or sternum like a chest shot, and with no MDF it's kind of like a gut shot. You know, just average human tissue is what the clear ballistics represents. And then I'm going to shoot from 25 yards at my full-size steel silhouette just to kind of see what overall practical accuracy we can get. So let's get started with this test. All right, first up we have our 10 millimeter rated at 1350 feet per second. I'm about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. Let's see how close we get to that 1350 feet per second out of my 5.3 inch barrel here. 1436, very much above rate of velocity. I'm starting right off the bat with some malfunction issues here, obviously, with this conversion, but we knew that was going to happen. Pretty good velocity, 1436. I'm going to kind of teacup this thing because the magazine is kind of dropping, so I'll do my best here. 1417, 1392, 1415, 1407. So that is probably part of the reason there, because it's a little bit more reliable when I kind of hold the bottom of the grip there. So I think something's going on. So let's see how our 44 Magnum compares. All right, 44 Magnum rated at 1400 feet per second. Again, this is like a 37-ounce gun, so not the best Magnum in the world, but let's see how close we get to that 1400 feet per second. 1384, 1370. I pulled that one down pretty far. 1382. 1383, 1409, so pretty close to rate of velocity. Not too much felt recoil. I mean, it's pretty snappy, enough that I am kind of jerking my shots trying to anticipate that recoil. You know, I feel it coming, so I'm pulling down a little bit too much. But let's hit our ballistics gel block and see what we get with these rounds. All right, first up for our ballistic test, we got our 10 millimeter. We got our 4 layers of denim, 3 inches clear ballistics, 1/4 inch MDF, and some more clear ballistics. Let's see how our 10 millimeter will do. All right, here is our MDF. We can definitely tell in that first 3 inches we are getting expansion. It actually cracked this whole thing. That's a lot of impact on that. And you went all the way to 16.5 inches with good expansion and decent damage. We typically don't see a whole lot of permanent cavity damage in there after going through the MDF, but it actually did. So let's leave the MDF out and see how it compares. All right, no MDF, just our gut shot simulation. Let's see how this will compare. All right. All right, so with everything lined up correctly, we're looking at a total damage path of about 17 3/4 inches. Very consistent. Our damage is very similar to the damage with the MDF in place, so it is a very, very consistent round the way it performs. Let's see how our 44 Magnum does. All right, 44 Magnum through our MDF, our ribs or sternum shot. Let's see how this compares to our 10mm. Almost knocked the whole block off there. All right, through our MDF, we've pretty much pulled this apart, our lamination of this apart. So that's pretty impressive. And what we got in our total penetration is about 20 3/4 inches. So that's definitely more of a penetrator. Let's see how it does without our MDF. All right, 44 mag, just our gut shot. Let's see how this compares to the MDF shot. All right. All right, so what we got there is pretty much what I expected. And you're gonna say, well, what do you mean? Because normally you get a lot more when there's no MDF. So what we're looking at here is about 21.5 inches. And we have a lot of damage here, definitely more than the 10mm. But what I mean is I have specifically seen that these particular bullets, they seem to be kind of barrier blind. And when you hit something hard versus not hitting something hard, there's not really a change. There's not a significant change. And what we're looking at there, you know, we're only about an inch difference there. So if you take away the MDF, that's only 3/4 inch difference in penetration. They're always very consistent when it comes to penetrating like that. I've noticed that about these rounds. So I always consider these one of the best rounds you can get, are specifically bullets. Most of the rounds I tested, or all of them actually, have been really good with this bullet. So let's shoot for that 25 yards and see what we get with these rounds. All right, 25 yards, and the reason why I'm not going further is because, you know, no matter what, these would be good for, you know, hunting or something. The application I'm using them for is self-defense. I'm using kind of shorter barreled 44, and this isn't particularly long barrel. So 25 yards, let's see what kind of practical accuracy we can get with these. 10mm. All right, I'm just kind of popping them off there, not doing my best particular job I can do with accuracy. I just kind of want to see how they felt like that. So 44 mag, let's see how this compares. Wow. They must have used rifle primers because this thing did not go off right there. That's a live round. So because of the power of these rounds, like if I opened this up and then it were to go off, it would do more damage than, let's say, a 9mm or a 38. So I'm gonna wait here a minute. So what we got here is a light primer strike. So these are definitely gonna be rifle primers, I have no doubt. You know, and you know, the power of these rounds doesn't surprise me, because if you use a too soft of a primer, it could blow it out. So that happens sometimes. I'm gonna restrike this round, see what happens. Same thing. Wait again, I'll be back. All right, I replaced that round, pulling my cylinder latch back with this cylinder open. You know, if you can see, my firing pin's fine. So it's just that round. So I'll try some different rounds here, see how these will do. It was all worked up over that one, and I jerked that thinking it wouldn't go off, so I didn't hold it tight enough. That's the weird thing about 44. Try some more. All right, not too bad overall, except for that one round. Why that didn't go off, you know, obviously it's a light primer strike, and the rest of these have okay primer strikes, so I'm guessing maybe it wasn't supposed to be a large rifle primer, but that seems to be what was in there. That's my guess there. So for whatever reason, you know, I had some issues there. Luckily it was with a revolver, because, you know, with the revolver, if you had a dead round, just pull the trigger again. And the chances of that being a hang fire is pretty low anyway, so just saying if a bear was charging you or something. So overall, I really like the bullet design. These are some of the best bullets there are out there. And Buffalo Bore does seem to load them pretty well. Other than that dead primer, a really good performing 44. It had more penetration than some of the self-defense 44s out there. It truly is a 44 Magnum, but we don't have extreme over penetration. So overall, it's really what you kind of want and expect out of a 44 Magnum. So that's a pretty good round. A 10 millimeter, well above rated velocity. I was impressed with that. Very powerful round for what it is. Even though it's not, you know, a 44, it's still way more powerful than even a 357 Magnum generally. So overall, that's what you get today. Pretty good round. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.